you, Reverend. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Good evening, all my friends at GBIO. Good evening. I will not be long because the hour is late, and I know you have to get home to sleep because, as one great man once said, everything will be better in the morning. And that gentleman was in my office morning, noon, and night. And I appreciate that. Ladies and gentlemen, let me say that when I first started the journey on health care for all to provide quality health care that was accessible and affordable to every man, woman, and child in this Commonwealth, I founded my principle of shared responsibility, which was the principle that our forefathers founded our Commonwealth. And I asked each and every person in this Commonwealth who had a share in this to join with me, to come to the table, and to make sure that this health care reform was meaningful and was passed in a way that would create every single person in this Commonwealth being able to get insurance for themselves, even if they couldn't afford it. And my first job was to reach out to my fellow colleagues in the legislature. And again, I know they've been introduced, but I want to let them know, those who are here tonight and those who are not, played such a very important role in coming together to bring this plan and make it a reality. Now, there are two people that are not here tonight that I would recognize: former Senate President Bob Travellini and current Senate President Therese Murray. They deserve a round of applause for what they did on their work on this bill. You know, I first came before this group at the invitation of Reverend Hamilton back in December of 2005. And he asked me to make a promise. He made me promise in front of 400 or 500 of you to keep the fight up for comprehensive health care reform and to make everybody in the Commonwealth sit at the table and not leave that table until we made a commitment to make this work. And I made that promise, and I kept that promise. And negotiating that promise to keep that commitment while sitting across the table from a different governor than we have now was not easy. Thank God for the governor we have now. I sat at that table and I was negotiating and negotiating and negotiating. And sometimes I felt it was for naught. And I didn't think we'd cross the line, the finish line, to make this a reality. But I remembered the promise. I remembered the promise. And I knew when I looked at all of your faces that night that you would be sitting at that table with me. And you were behind me, and you were encouraging me and giving me faith and giving me hope that I could do this. And for that, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you. Without GBIO, without your commitment, without your signatures, without your hard work, without any of all those things, healthcare reform would never be a reality in this Commonwealth today, because you are one of the greatest partners I had at that table. You were at my right hand. You were the force at that table. And to you, I say, hallelujah.